our very first show and I'm so excited that you all are here. I would like to first and foremost give a great big thank you to my wonderful husband, who's too handsome to be behind the camera, but there he is helping us out, and our sweet and wonderful son, who helps us so much and is going to be helping me as well. Today we're going to make barbecue chicken pizza, which is super yummy. Now we've got some basics here of how to start with the bread dough. Personally, we like our pizza dough very thick and soft. If you like it thinner, you can go ahead and cut this recipe in half, or you can just make 2 pizzas, which is even better. Either way, this is enough to make one big, soft, thick pizza dough. Okay, so what we're gonna start with is 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of table salt, 3 tablespoons of canola oil. You can use olive oil too if you want, and a tablespoonful of yeast with a 1/2 teaspoon of regular white sugar and a cup of warm water. You want to make sure that it's not too hot because that'll actually kill the yeast, not too cold, but just something that's like a nice warm water. Okay, so we're going to put all these things in the bowl and get started. So we're gonna mix everything in this handy dandy stand mixer. This thing has been awesome and I love it. If you don't have one, you can still make this just fine. It's just gonna take a little bit longer and you're gonna wind up kneading it by hand, which is a very soothing process. Also, after we get the bread dough started, I'm gonna show you what other ingredients you're gonna need to make the barbecue chicken portion, which you're going to need 1 chicken thigh, boneless and skinless, a cup of your favorite barbecue sauce, and a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. Okay, so we're gonna get started on the bread dough. The first thing we wanna add is our flour. Ooh, I'm making a mess here. And our yeast and sugar mixture. We're just gonna give that a stir. So if you're doing this by hand, same principle. Give it a little stir just to mix it up. Now you're gonna pour in your warm water. Remember, this is a cup of warm water. And your 3 tablespoons of oil. And just give that a nice stir. I've got this on stir setting, which is the lowest. And then you add the salt. Give it a little sprinkle all the way around and keep stirring. Okay, so now we're gonna shut this off, unlock it, and scrape it off the dough hook. Again, if you're doing this by hand, this is pretty much what you want to look for. It just looks like raw dough. It's very tempting because it smells good too. Now, here's another step. And there's not really a measurement per se that you have to use. Don't want to overdo it or underdo it. I would say if you're going to measure it, it's going to be about a tablespoonful of the same oil that you used. You're just going to go ahead and cover the dough with that oil so that it can rise and not get too sticky and difficult to work with. Okay, so now we're just going to scrape the sides of the bowl. Get it to look nice and cohesive. This looks like good looking bread dough here. Now what we're gonna do is just put a little bit of oil. So if you're gonna measure it, probably about a tablespoon, give or take. You're just gonna coat that bread dough so that it can rise up nice and strong, okay? It'll take about 30 minutes. It doesn't have to rise as long as regular bread dough would rise. In the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and cook the chicken. So we're gonna cover this with just a little oil, and then we'll get started cooking the chicken. So we have our chicken thigh, just 1 fairly large size boneless, skinless chicken thigh, that's hard to say, and a pan sprayed with cooking spray. You're welcome to put salt and pepper to your taste on it, however you like. This is gonna take between 3 and 4 minutes aside on medium heat on your stove. Go ahead and keep this covered up. Now add to this as it's almost done cooking, so maybe at about the 5 to 6 minute mark, you're gonna add about a tablespoon of your favorite barbecue sauce. Again, the total amount you're gonna need here is about a cup. And we're also going to use a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. Make it your own though. Totally feel free to mix it up with some pepper jack if that's what you like, jack cheese. Make it yours. Right now we're gonna use cheddar cheese. So as this cooks, it'll take about 6 minutes and then we'll keep going. So as you guys know, the bread dough is rising as the chicken is cooking. So this is a good time to go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees, because what we're going to do after the dough is ready is either roll it out or press it into the circle shape in your pan. We're gonna actually heat up the dough by itself, nothing else on it, for 5 minutes. Then we'll take it out, put all the goodies on it, and put it back in for another 15. While the meat's resting, we're gonna go ahead and spray our very well-loved pizza pan with some cooking spray. And we're going to scoop out our dough. Here's what it looks like. It's risen a little bit. It doesn't have to rise as much as bread dough. We're gonna take it out. Oh, it's so nice and fluffy. It feels kind of like feathery. Now, some people like to use a rolling pin, have a rolling pin there. I like to use my hands. So just go ahead and scooch it to the side like this. It does not have to look perfect. It's gonna taste really good. Now, like I'd mentioned earlier, we're gonna actually let this bake in the preheated oven at 400 degrees for 5 minutes. It's not gonna be completely cooked at that point, but it is important that your chicken or whatever meat you're wanting to make this with. Let's say you wanted to get creative. We live in Texas and brisket is so good here. You could put brisket on this. That would be pretty awesome. It's a recipe for next time. So we're gonna put this in the oven now for 5 minutes. Real quick. And we're gonna cut up the chicken. And here we have the remainder of our barbecue sauce. So this is about a cup minus a tablespoon. Doesn't really have to be totally accurate, but about a cup. And about a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. Again, feel free to use whatever kind of cheese you like. The cheddar cheese really complements the barbecue sauce. You can use more if you like it really cheesy. You can use less if you don't like it that cheesy. So right about now, we're going to cut up the chicken thigh. See how that looks in the center, how it's kind of whitish? That's a good indication that it's fully cooked. That's why we let it rest for a couple minutes. Also gives you time to work on the rest of the dish and get that situated. Well, it looks like the chicken didn't cook completely all the way through. So let's put it back in the pan. No worries, that happens sometimes. Okay, so our chicken hadn't cooked all the way through. Sometimes that happens. I wanted to show you guys that to let you know it happens, and you just cut it up, give it a little stir fry, take a look at it and see, you know what? After about 2 minutes, it was done, so not a problem. What we're gonna do next, our pizza dough is ready for its toppings. See how nice and puffy that is? Again, if you want a thin crust, just cut this amount in half and put it in 2 pans. We've got our barbecue sauce here. The kind we use is sort of sweet. If you like spicy barbecue sauce, that might be really good with like some pepper jack or something. But for this recipe, we're just using nice, regular, sweet barbecue sauce. Okay, so that's about how much it's gonna cover. If you like a little less sauce, just use a little less. If you like a little more, use a little more. It's up to you. Make it your own. Make it how you like it, how your family likes it. Have fun with it. Here is our shredded cheese. I'm just gonna very carefully sprinkle that on the pizza. If you like avocados, this is really good topped with a little bit of avocado after it's done cooking. Just a little idea there. Jalapenos are good too. We're gonna add our chicken now. Just gonna sprinkle that over the top. Make sure that all the pieces get some chicken on there. And it's really pretty amazing how far one chicken thigh can go. This is also a really, really, really great recipe to use when you have some leftover chicken. If it's cooked and you're not working with spices that would kind of clash with the barbecue sauce. So now we are going to put this back in the oven, which is already at 400 degrees. We're gonna bake it for 15 minutes. Then we'll take it out and have some really yummy, really barbecuey, really cheesy barbecue chicken pizza. So here we go, 15 minutes in a 400 degree oven and you've got your nice cheesy barbecuey chicken pizza. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We hope that you'll try this at home and we hope that you'll join us again next week when we have another fun cooking experience for you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to get fun new cooking shows each week.